Hi, I just want to do a quick video to explain our project for those of you who will be absent or for parents who need a little extra help. So the first thing that students are going to do is we're going to complete an in-class assignment in which students walk around and they have QR codes that they do just a quick review of the Aztecs, the Mayans, and the Incas. With that, we're going to solely focus on the Aztecs. So we are asking students to design a video game. So you must create a main character. So we'll start with challenge 1. You must create a main character for your video game. Determine their social class and the benefits and challenges and this presents. Create trading cards for your main character that summarizes your strengths, weaknesses, and special powers. These should be based on historical responsibilities of social class you choose. Okay. Challenge 2, you're going to create a quest. So you must choose a quest for your character to undertake and design 3 levels in increasing difficulty. And I'll explain the 3 levels thing isn't necessary. There's other ways to do that. Okay. Consider the location your character would typically visit on their daily life and add details to make the setting of your game historically accurate. Challenge 3, this is the game economy. This is a little confusing at first because we can do different kinds of game economy. It doesn't have to be the traditional route. So determine how you will keep score in your game and how players will win or lose. Do they lose by failing to find something? Is this the richest player is the winner? Design 2 to 4 power-ups and 2 to 4 challenges that your player will face throughout the game. My suggestion is you stick with 2. Create a Google Slides or Prezi that showcases your video game. You may not, under any circumstances, use Keynote. You cannot do that. Why? Because you cannot access Keynote at home. So you must use something that is internet-based, which is Google Slides or Prezi. Okay? So then let's take a look at the first challenge. So challenge 1. So if you look at this page right here, this gives you a breakdown of Aztec society. Okay? It has the emperor, nobles, commoners, peasants, slaves, and what they do in their daily lives. Okay, so nobles include military leaders, government officials, and priests. Okay, commoners are traders, craftspeople, farmers, peasants. These are free people, but they didn't own land and were not loaned land to farm, hired out their services to nobles. Slaves were prisoners of war, lawbreakers, debtors that are forced into slavery. Slaves could own property, goods, and other slaves. Which is kind of funny, and we'll talk about that in class a little bit more. You could gain freedom by working off your debt and completing a sentence for their crime or when their masters died. Okay, so those are the levels of society in Aztec society, but we'll talk about that a little bit more in detail. Okay, all right, and on Schoology there is a copy of History Live. The pages that you would need to read in order to understand a little bit more about the Aztec society, and that is located in this unit 6. It says Aztec game design, and then it's in other resources. Okay. All right. So if you look at challenge 1, okay, if you look at challenge 1. Challenge 1 is where you're creating your profile and you're deciding what kind of character you're going to be, so what level of society you're going to be. Give us some background information. This is all from your imagination. Special talents and objects. This is, again, your imagination. A character name. There's websites posted on different Aztec names that you can give. There's photos that you can use as inspiration to draw your character. And then down below, there is 25 available points for strength, intelligence, luck, health, and wealth. You can only assign 18. Okay, that's as much as you're going to give your player. Okay, so we're going to start out with 18 points. All right, so they have something to look forward to. Challenge 2 is where you're going to design your story around it. So here's the thing. We're going to talk about traditional versus non-traditional and how Fortnite has kind of changed the way that we look at video games because it's not necessarily a traditional route of video gaming. In traditional routes of video gaming, there's quests. They go on quests. So think of like Super Mario Brothers. Super Mario Brothers, you have different levels, and as the levels go, they get increasingly harder. You are more than welcome to do that. That's a very simple storyline. It's easy to do. It's completely up to you. So there's several different ones we come up with. So collection quest, conquest, or apprentice quest. And they all have different kind of goals and obstacles that you'll have to go through, okay? However, you can do it Fortnite style where you have just one big battle royale. But you have to keep in mind that it's going to have somewhat of a story too. And there is a story in Fortnite, and we'll talk a little bit more in detail when we get into class. The last challenge that you'll have to do is, on paper, is to come up with power-ups and come up with challenges that you're facing. So power-ups are like tools, weapons, defensive mechanisms. Challenges that you may face are things like no medicine, lack of technology, no education, no training, thieves, things like that, okay? And then you have to decide how you're going to keep score, all right? Once you've compiled all this design, you're going to put it into a Google Slides, and you're